sometime in everybody's life, something will happen to them and everything will be different from then on. Like a life-changing event. I've been lucky enough to have 3 of them. 1 when my rabbit died, and 2 when I got my first skateboard 5 years ago. But when I left for the Trans World Skateboard Championships in Vancouver, I had no idea I was going to have number 3. Getting to Vancouver was taking longer than I thought, but I finally got lucky.
All right, thanks.
Sure thing.
Oh, you're a skater.
Yeah.
Whoa. So where are you headed?
Expo, Vancouver.
Same here.
Really?
All right, yeah.
Ripping, you got to ride all the way. So I'm
Cool.
going there right now.
So what kind of board you riding? Is this, yeah, Jeff Phillips.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Do you like, oh, is this a new shape?
Uh-huh. Same side
hot.
cuts, but different nose and tail.
How do you like it?
It's good. It rips.
Wow. Well, Jeff Phillips rips. He just, didn't he take first place in the last Virginia Beach?
Yup. Finally. It's about time.
He shreds. I like his style. Really like to meet that guy.
Oh, really? Oh, you might get a chance someday. Sooner than you think.
Great. Of all the guys to catch a ride with, I get a nut who talks in riddles. Oh well, I'm too tired to think about anything but Expo. After 3 days on the road, I made it to what I thought would be the 24-hour-a-day party of the World Expo. That was before I found out the world closed at 10 o'clock. I checked out the local accommodations and found one to my liking. Meanwhile, just inside the gates, I could feel a force calling me, trying to draw me in. I knew the dream ramp was waiting.
We're kind of excited about it. This is one of the most progressive pieces of skateboard apparatus in the world today.
Be careful of those sharp corners. They'll cut you to ribbons. Now be careful.
Watch the sharp metal.
Take it easy and slow, and you'll have your fingers at the end of the day. Well, we've got a
Kind of stuff to do anyway.
4 hours or 3 hours of tying this stuff together.
Never before there had such a beautiful structure. It's all steel. It's 36 feet wide.
These guys ride anything. I can't see why it's really that difficult whether it is skewed.
As long as it's not skewed too much, who cares? You know, they're not going to notice it.
This is going to be one of the biggest ramps, the best ramp, because this is the ultimate contest around. This is the big one.
another 4 hours, then we can make a realistic prediction about when it will be finished anyway. Okay, listen, you guys, no skating out here for now, none. When this is locked into place and squared up, this should go fairly smoothly. Don's sort of the guy that's got the firm grip on the design. No skating around here tonight, like none. Somebody stole the high jump bars this morning. We don't have to buy 2 more. I think in another 4 hours we're going to be substantially along. I really think if we did have a real solid surface, it would help a little. It's starting to look like some wild half pipe now.
I'm going to skate this baby when it's up.
Another 3 hours and we'll be a lot closer.
6 months ago when I talked to Monty, this was going to be wheeled in and snapped together.
Oh, find some energy. Come on, you guys. Let's do it. Yeah, we really had to fight this one every inch, eh? You guys don't skate. Stay off the boards, you guys.
Line 5, this is line 9. Could you give me the name of the skater at the gate, please? Over. Bob Cribble. Stand by. Okay, we'll go down and talk to him real quick. Monty will be right out.
So we had to, okay, now is he in here? Is he in town yet?
It's him, yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't got you down here at all.
Is that all of them right there?
That's all the pros.
No, what? Can I check this? Like,
that's all the pros. Yeah, the only pros are the Canadian pros. Okay, going. We've just been crossing them off in regards to freestyle and half-pipe race.
So it's like today's practice already scheduled out?
Today's practice is, yeah.
All this for Bob Pribble, and he's a pro.
Come in and talk to registration. Registration is open.
I could see getting in wasn't going to be as easy as I thought.
Okay, great.
I guess I can appreciate how tight security was at Expo, watching out for dangerous people. It kind of made me feel safe all over. When I entered the Kodak Arena, there were skaters everywhere. I was glad I brought my camera. The guys back home would never believe this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Kodak Pacific Bowl on behalf of Expo 86. Welcome to the Trans World Canadian Skateboard Championships. All throughout today's activities, we'll be seeing the professionals as well as the amateurs representing 17 countries from around the world doing their practice sessions. Our official competition does not officially open until tomorrow. All day Thursday, we'll be holding events in the half-pipe, which you see the competitors practicing their event now, as well as a freestyle on the asphalt area before you.
The skating area was huge and set up like other competitions, except it was on the Expo site, and a lot of the strict attitude of Expo carried over. They had this stupid rule on the Expo grounds: no skateboards, unless you carried them in a bag. Kind of weird, since the theme of Expo was transportation. A couple of times security made us take the wheels off our boards so we couldn't skate into tourists.
With us today also the grandpa of skateboarding, Russ Howell. He's from Long Beach, California. He's the two-time world champion. Now he's with public relations, Trans World Skateboard Championships.
The freestylers have, I think, something, their inward, more inner energy as far as being creative that way. The high jumpers and 360 people, well, they're kind of strange anyway, but you'll find they're more conservative. So as the events themselves become more explosive, so do the personalities as well.
Explosive. That was just how some skaters were starting to feel about the dream ramp. It was anything but a dream.
They laid all the plywood the wrong way. All the paint made the wood warp. And it's kind of bumpy. The coping sticks out a lot. On top, you can't roll in.
It's not the best, but I guess it's gonna have to do. Yeah. Be a good test for all the pros, I guess.
There's only about a couple of inches of vertical. There should be about a foot. And the coping sticks out too far, and it's loose. So it's kind of dangerous to skate. It's not very fun.
Well, we might have to put some masonite over it because they're just going to rip it apart. That probably won't be for another couple days yet.
The design of the $25,000 ramp was ingenious. Just the same, NSA President Frank Hawk knew it needed some more work.
And this is giving you those spots, and they're riding and going,
It was supposed to be set up on flat ground, not 18 inches of wood chips. Since the ground wasn't level, the ramp was crooked. I mean, really tweaked. I was bent out of shape too, until I met Gertsen, a sponsored amateur for Vision. Although we weren't able to skate, Gertsen turned me on to some hot new gear. I was looking for some skaters to hang out with, and Gertsen was the weirdest guy I ever met. The combination was perfect. With so many different countries represented in the competition, Monty Little, the championship director, tried to organize a flag ceremony, even though he knew skaters would have trouble going along with it. The skaters didn't seem to mind, though. In fact, they had fun joining different countries. I thought it was great, too, just like the Olympics. That first evening, they held a skating exhibition for the crowd. I was watching the best in the world, guys I'd only seen pictures of. But they were all there, in person. They put a new layer of plywood on the ramp to cover up the gaps. That meant they had to move the sponsor signs to the top of the ramp. Some sponsors weren't too happy about that. Some sponsors are never happy. I hung around on the side watching for a while. I wanted to go out there with them, but thought someone would tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey buddy, you don't belong here." But more than that, I was intimidated by the skaters. I mean, these guys had been like gods to me. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I hopped the rope and tried to blend in. Since there were so many skaters, I knew I wouldn't be noticed. It was kind of cool pretending to be one of the competing skaters, out practicing in the demo. Almost a dream come true. Gertsen and his brother offered me a place to stay. I figured a floor would be better than concrete. I was beat after an eventful first day, and the competition hadn't even started yet.
Good morning. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Expo 86 and the Kodak Pacific Bowl's Trans World Skateboarding Championships, where 17 countries are represented, 63 pros in all.
In a lot of ways, Expo was like any other skateboard contest. I'd never seen so many different types of boards as I did during morning practice.
My skateboard.
Not only boards, I'd never seen so many different people. It was amazing that people from thousands of miles apart could come to Expo, skate for a few minutes with guys they didn't know, and seem like old friends. It was like a big get-together.
Ladies and gentlemen, to officially open the Trans World Skateboarding Championships, let's start it off with a warm, enthusiastic round of applause for competitors from 17 countries around the world. First up, from Sweden, Stefan Johansson.
I noticed a lot more countries represented in freestyle than ramp. I'd always followed ramp skating because it seemed more exciting. But as I watched the freestyle, I thought about how much practice it must have taken. The Brazilian skaters had matched uniforms and seemed to understand what it meant to be a team. They stayed in Monty's backyard, camped out in tents. They called it Fort Brazil. They closed the ramp during freestyle. The second layer of plywood used to cover the first layer splintered. As they carried in the sheets of masonite for ramp number 3, I saw a freestyle skater I could relate to.
All ramp crew members over to the half-pipe area at this time.
I'm a pool skater. I ride ramps and pools and street skating and everything like that, but I own a freestyle board, so I entered because it was fun.
An amateur contestant, Dave, was the only skater at Expo to enter all 6 events. He got 2nd in the giant slalom, 9th in bowl, 10th in the 360, 10th in the half pipe, and 5th in the high jump. He didn't place in the freestyle.
I've been skating about 12 years. I started a long time ago back in Australia, then New Zealand. Then I toured around a bit and I ended up in the States where I skate right now. It's a lot of fun out there and like the crowd here is really neat. I like it a lot.
And that's time for Dave Crabb, Australia. Our ladies freestyle, because of time limitations, has been moved up to this evening.
They put off the women's freestyle, so I went on to the Expo grounds.
Huh? Threw all those stickers up in the air?
Yeah.
That's good.
I couldn't believe all the cute girls at Expo, and some were real friendly too.
So you're gonna bum around all day?
Yeah. But I'd been taught at an early age never to talk to strangers. Besides, I was supposed to meet Gertson and some other skaters.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Steve? See, this is Dave and Jeff.
Hey.
Hey, friends.
Yeah. How do you know Steve?
I gave him a ride here.
Yeah, I was hitchhiking.
No way, Phillips.
It's Philip. Is this Jeff Phillips?
Yeah.
No way! No way!
Of all the people I'd hoped to see at Expo, and here I rode with him halfway. I'm sure stranger things have happened. And stranger things would happen before the competition was over.
How'd you hurt your foot?
Splinter in the ramp.
On the ramp, there was a... Oh, shoot.
Okay, at this time, we're going to bring out our first contestant if our judges are ready. Our first contestant out.
There was one thing my parents always taught me. Well, make that 2 things. Don't play with matches, and, well, make that 3 things. 1 matches, look both ways when you cross, and 1 other one. I guess that doesn't have anything to do with the women's freestyle, but whenever I see a good-looking girl, it always reminds me of things my folks say. I think there should be more girls skating, because they're fun to watch. April's grandmother owns one of the only skate parks in the U.S., in Upland, California. She was the top amateur female freestyler in the NSA when she was only 13. I mean, April was, not her grandmother. Another good thing about the girls, they really stuck together. And, of course, one stood apart. Gogo from Switzerland was the grandma of skating at 23, and it was no secret she would win the women's freestyle.
I have a work, I train horses and teach people how to ride horses, and I just do skating beside my work. But I skate more in the summer. I don't skate at all in the winter because we have to train our horses ready for the spring, so I don't got time to skate at all, just in the summer. But I don't have my work in the summer, so I just train the horses over the winter, and then I have time off. So it's pretty good. I don't work between April and September. Nothing, just skating and just enjoy life and everything.
In warm-ups, Gogo would wear her old skate shirts that she cut up. They barely covered the essentials. She said she didn't do it to be sexy. It was hot in her country, and it was the only way she could get a tan like that. They were pretty interesting. It made her even more fun to watch.
Time, that's Go-Go Spreeder. Let's give her a big round of applause to get us off the ground. Yeah, you did join the women competitors. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
I got to help fix the ramp. Most of the skaters wanted more vertical, and trainer Barry Zaritsky had offered to donate his fee to buy a safer masonite surface. Anyway, the sponsors found the money for Ramp 3, and luckily Ramp Dr. Paul Schmidt was there to make a house call. While we made repairs, we had the best seats in the house for the event of the night.
We just perform places like this, usually not this big, once in a while, and try to promote the sport of freestyle skateboarding. I've been skating about 5 years now. You can buy a radio and a freestyle board, and that's all it takes. Try to skate like their own, you know. Don't copy anybody and you'll skate better.
Kevin Harris was a local favorite and a talented skater. Unfortunately, he didn't have a great week at Expo.
It's a sport that takes a lot of timing and balance and practice. Just gotta, if you want to get good, you got to put a lot of time into it. You got to practice at least 2 hours a day and just have a lot of fun what you're doing. I just want to go out there and have fun. I'm doing kind of a show to the audience. I just not worried about it's a competition. I just try to put it in mind it's a show and I'm trying to skate my best.
I think Diane Desiderio is the best-looking professional female skater in the world. Come to think of it, she's the only pro female skater in the world.
I've been skating off and on for about 11 years, I would say. 2 years ago, actually, I just got back into it, and I'm happy I did, because a lot has happened to me, like meeting a lot of people and traveling. I'm up here, I'm having a good time.
It's hard to keep up with the younger generation of skaters. I'm one of the original first generation skaters, and I've been around every year. I've never quit, so I'm probably the oldest one out there still competing on an everyday basis.
Rodney Mullen.
Yes, he's definitely the man to beat. He's the man to watch and the man to enjoy. So
He used to be in our team. I used to be Florida State champion pro division, and he was just a little kid on our team. He used to look up to me, and the next thing I know, this guy's world champion.
When I get second to him, it's like getting first for me in a contest. He's just that much better.
I was talking before about how ramp and freestyle skaters live separate lives. When Rodney skated, the ramp riders would stop everything and just watch.
You feel it. That's when you make it. Of course, you gotta try it over and over, but you can try forever. I mean, infinite amount of years. If you just don't feel it, you'll never make it. Those who make it a career, often they lose themselves in it. And I see it happen to a lot of my friends. They get soft, they get too used to patting on the back, and they blow it. Me, I want to go as far as I can, but there are times when I sort of have to fall and hurt myself to realize how much it means to me, you know, personally.
Rodney used to ride ramps till he broke his wrist. His parents didn't want him to skate anymore, but he made a deal with them. They'd build a practice area in the backyard, and he'd only skate freestyle.
15 seconds.
Sometimes he goes out in the middle of the night and skates in parking lots. His favorite is the back lot of a church. Rodney puts education first. He's studying pre-med at the University of Florida. Maybe he'll specialize in skateboard injuries.
Time! Rodney Mullen. Scores for Rodney Mullins, 98 out of a possible 100. And this is just semi-finals. You better be back here Saturday, I'll tell you. Next, Daniel Gesmer.
What first turned me on to skateboarding was the thrill of the simple flowing motion, just the rolling. I'm trying to achieve a dance-like grace and expression, something that's quite a bit different from anything anybody else is doing. And I really downplay the board manipulations that almost everybody else specializes in.
You just try to do your best, and I'm just happy if I'm happy with my routine. It doesn't matter where I place. Of course, I would like to beat Ronnie. I only beat him once, and I guess I will be the guy who could beat him, but he's really, really strong.
Primo has a 2-foot-long braided ponytail. Some don't notice it because he tucks it in his shirt. Vic Eald was the world record holder in 360s, and he uses it a lot in his routines.
Seconds.
We knew it was over, saying, tell the boys that we're not handing over any part of Action Town.
That's time for David Campbell. Judges are tabulating their scores. Dave's going to go for it anyway. Little extra for the crowd. Here we go. Oh, whoa. Let's give a round of applause for Dave Campbell. Once again, this is the preliminaries of the Pro Freestyle event. Our finals will be on Saturday. This is the Trans World Skateboard Championships, the largest skateboard
When we finally got ramp number 3 completed, they organized an all-night practice which was closed to the public. So I didn't get to skate on the ramp I helped build.
You're at the event.
At least the pros would finally get to skate.
Is it all clear? Yeah, give me your boards.
I had heard from other skaters about some cement waves on Expo that would be great if you could just get there with a board. At 7 a.m., Expo employees were just coming to work, and they didn't seem to mind us being there. The waves made me think of how skating got started. We were having fun, but knew it was only a matter of time. I could see this was going to be our last run. It was a blast until we got kicked off. That was okay. We were late for the giant slalom anyway.
Next skater, number 126. Skater ready? What? 3, 2,
This is the first time I've ever been to a slalom race, so I don't know what quite to expect. We have had no injuries here today, and I don't expect any. This is going to be a very safe event. It's going to be a very slow event, we hate to say. The wind's blowing into their faces, so it'll be very safe. I'm going to have a very nice day out here today.
I'd never been to a slalom event either, but it looked like a lot of fun.
2, 1, go.
There were moves I'd never seen before. The way they would pump back and forth. They did it to get traction out of their wheels and pick up speed.
3, 2, 1, go.
Wear your safety gear. Have a good time at it. Race with your friends. We started out back in 1976 in La Costa with the first wave of skateboarding, and we had a lot of fun just racing. Everybody chipped in $5, and we kind of started there and then advanced to the competition circuit and all that. I'd like to see a lot more slalom riding taking place. It's fun, it's pretty up here, clean air.
Skater ready?
Sophie was the only woman skater entered.
Go.
You'd never know she'd had some problems with her knees.
I wasn't supposed to be skateboarding anymore. My knees were very, very bad, but I prayed and asked the Lord so that I could get the use of my legs back, and it came back really good, and now I can walk fine. It's great.
I start in France. I have training 4 or 6 hours per week.
The French were incredible in the slalom. It was one of those events Europeans tend to be serious about.
I like slalom. I like jump. I jump too, and the freestyle. I like skate.
Some people complained that a couple of skaters took advantage of the wind. I knew if I came all the way up here and didn't see Expo, Mom would have been disappointed. So Mom, this one's for you. The theme of Expo was transportation. All the displays, attractions, and exhibits had to do with how people get around. I felt like I'd known Gertsen and his brother forever, so we could just relax and be ourselves.
Come on, you guys, come on! Come on! Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
That's a Leicester.
Is it a Leicester?
Yeah. The swords goes in.
Leicester shape. Oh yeah, that's right.
The tail's different.
Homemade steel wheel skateboard. 1960. Hot.
The ride spun us around pretty good, which reminded me the 360 competition was taking place. The event was held off the Expo grounds in downtown Vancouver. Present and former world record holders were there, and we were sure we'd see a record. The floor surface had just been waxed and was too slippery to get a good push off, so they taped down a little pad area to get a good start.
Must make them awfully dizzy. I get dizzy watching them, but I think it's terrific.
Some people got dizzier than others. Per Willender had a tough time making it back to his seat.
1, 2, go!
It's okay, it's okay.
The crowd goes wild.
We'd hoped to see a record, and we weren't disappointed. On one of his attempts, Vic Eelg broke his own world record of 83 spins with 112. It was a good thing because Rodney Mullen and Andre Walton beat the old record too. It's not often you see 3 people beat the standing world record on the same afternoon. Some locals told us about a bowl in North Vancouver, and I figured it'd just be a skatable drainage ditch or something. But what did I have to lose? I couldn't believe it. It was a skater's dream, the perfect skate spot right in a public park. You could just show up and have a good time with the locals. There were places you could blast air, places to grind, and plenty of places to do some hot, screeching slides. It was right by a river and surrounded by trees. It seemed like the Garden of Eden. We were tempted to stay at the bowl for the rest of our lives, but we also had to get back to Expo.
We will go through the amateurs first for the high jump, and then we'll bring out the professionals. The current world record is held by a Czechoslovakian at 5'6".
When we got there, the high jump semis had started, and the place was packed.
For the folks in the stand,
I couldn't figure what Hosoi was doing in it. I mean, what if he got injured? Hosoi wasn't the only ramp skater entered in the high jump. Because of all the delays in fixing the ramp, guys like Hosoi and Magnuson hadn't got all their practice in. So Monty shut down the high jump so these ramp skaters could get some more practice before the competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, I realize how interested you are in the high jump event. However, would you please welcome the start of the professional half-pipe competition. Behind us, the colossal 32-foot wide half-pipe ramp. We're ready to get underway with some of the finest competitors from around the world.
I knew we were in for some hot skating, even if it was only the seeding round of the semis. Skaters give their all just to make the final jam. This is where you see the results of long hours of backyard ramp riding. Tricks and maneuvers not yet perfected will be attempted here in an all-out effort to make the finals. Since there aren't any required maneuvers, each skater can make up different tricks and combine them into a run that would impress the judges and excite the fans. I thought of how hard it would be to judge. The skaters were all so good and had different tricks and styles.
The main event for the evening, it will be a little late. A lot of the pros are still finishing up their practice runs, and all these top professionals need to make sure of every...
Barry and Frank wanted to have a quick meeting with the ramp skaters before the competition, but they had a tough time stopping practice. Look out, Barry.
And we're ready to get underway in just a few short moments as we make the final preparations. Judges to your judging tables. Competitors off the ramp, we're ready to get underway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been to a skateboard competition...
Because of all the ramp delays, this was the first real chance some had had to practice. The skaters' adrenaline was really flowing, and the crowd was anxious to see the first official Expo ramp competition.
First competitor up, please welcome, representing Team United States, Joe Johnson.
Watching halfpipe, you could see that some skaters skate for fans and others for other skaters. It wasn't so much that this was the World Championships as it was that they wanted to show each other what they could do.
Barry is our athletic trainer on site.
What I'm an athletic trainer in the United States, and I'm hired by the Canadian Association, first to prevent their injuries, second to care for their injuries, and to rehab their injuries. A lot of these fellas come into the contest with previous injuries that I've worked on before, such as Joe, and so we're preventative taping right now. We have every type of injury in skateboarding imaginable. We have ankles, we have wrist. We've had skaters have concussions over 7 times. There are a few facial injuries, more lacerations. We do have fellas knock out their teeth, but the major injury that I'm worried about though is the head injury, because the helmet at this stage of the game really doesn't protect. It protects, but it doesn't prevent the head injury.
Ken Park down in the bottom of that half pipe. Seems okay.
Barry could be the best friend a skater could have. His healing powers were sometimes mystical, magical. Half the time I couldn't tell if he was psyching the skaters up or putting hexes on them. The skaters all put their trust in him, and he showed them his thanks by caring, which is the most anybody can do.
I think these fellas have really accepted me as they are the fellas who voted in a poll to get me hired as I am a paid professional with this circuit. And I work on everybody I possibly can, although I'm taking care of 150 athletes, and I realize that's a lot for one individual. I enjoy doing it, and that's what motivates me to be here. No problems. I'm stoked.
Sometimes don't go according to plan. These guys pay a heavy price for their practice sessions as well as their competitions.
I guess most people don't know about all the equipment these guys use. The helmets and knee pads are pretty obvious, but there's lots of other protection available. The pros were a bunch of ordinary guys, talented ordinary guys. It was hard to imagine them being treated like celebrities. A lot of them made more money than my parents, and they were about my age. I wonder if that kind of thing can change you. Maybe. But I still saw Tony Hawk accepting money from his dad.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a round warm of applause, let's get everybody ready, and we're getting ready to get into the semifinals for the professional half-pipe competition. Let's have the half-pipe clear. We're ready to start. This is for real.
I really want to take a year and try to just
just go out and make money because school is really hindering my, occupation. So now I have just time to skate. That's all I do now. I make money now. It varies, like on the average, maybe about $5,000 a month.
Up next, Tony Hawk.
A lot of people are just doing airs and going high, and they're not getting scored that well, which I think that's the way it should be. It gets more crowd approval when you go higher and just keep doing airs. So I guess they're mainly looking for lines and a lot of tricks. If you're trying to organize a contest, think more of the skaters in terms of, instead of the organization and how you're going to put everything together. Just think of what they're going to skate and how they're going to feel about it. I think that's the best way to run a contest.
Tony Hawk is not the kind of guy that goes real high. You're not going to see Tony Hawk go 10 feet. But you are going to see Tony Hawk do the gnarliest tricks ever. The guy has won more contests than probably anybody. And he's technically more knowledgeable than any other skater.
Next skater, Tony Magnuson.
My strength is high airs. That's my strength in my skating predominantly anywhere I go. If I go to a ramp where it's not suitable for high airs, I'm at a real disadvantage. The ramp is about as good as it's going to get right now. It was just too bad that it wasn't this way early in the week so that we could have practiced more. Skating would have been a little bit better. If I didn't make a cent riding skateboards, I'd still be riding skateboards. I mean, making money is just one of these nice things that comes with it, It is really fun, and it doesn't really matter how good you are. I had just as much fun when I was a beginner as I do now being a professional traveling around the world.
So, please welcome the Lone Star State Texas skater, Craig Johnson.
I think really the epitome of skating is going as fast as possible. Going all out, just don't hold anything back, pull all the stops, let it go. The audience seems to pick up on it, they like it. My hair is I've been growing it real long, getting dreads going and stuff, and it won't fit in my helmet anymore. So I cut the top out of it at the last contest and pulled it through, fits perfect. I mean, it's great. I plan on skateboarding for a long time. Professionally, I don't know, probably about another 4 years or so. But I'll be skating, I'll be skating for a long time to come. I'm just I'm into having a lot of fun. Whatever's cool, and if you can make a living at it, that's even cooler.
Craig Johnson, Texas Lone Star. Up now, Caballero.
Anyone can just do the trick, but if you do it really high, or do it as far as you can do it, then that's irrelevant. It's just as far as you push it, that's how much better it is. Just don't push it too far, just push it, just take it easy. It's the only thing that's, skating is dangerous. So you just gotta be careful.
Steve Caballero. The skaters you're watching tonight are the finest the sport of skateboarding has to offer in the vertical riding ring. You folks in the audience are great. Love the enthusiasm. I know the competitors do. Thanks for coming by so much, for supporting the sport.
It had been another big day,
the sport of skateboarding.
but I had no idea the next day would change my life. If there was a reason to have the skateboard championships in Vancouver, it was the bowl. The thing was a work of art. It was designed 8 years ago by Monty and 2 local skaters, Nico Weiss and Rob Leschgold. 4 sweeping S-turns ending in a bowl. It was great for everybody. Beginners, pros, and those in between. Anyone could have a good time at the bowl.
It's free, it's smooth, you can come here and have a good time with all your friends.
It's hot. Yeah, I like it a lot. We don't have something like this back in Texas. People from Sweden, Brazil, everywhere. California. This was probably the best time I've ever had at a skateboard contest. This was the biggest ever.
The bowl competition was pretty laid back, probably because it was off the Expo site. It was the closest thing to just hanging out. Of course, the mood was different from the afternoon we discovered the bowl. For one thing, there were more people, with others arriving by the minute. And now that the label competition was stamped on it, there were rules, officials, regulations, and plenty of hype to go along with it. Even with all that, the skaters made the most of it, traffic jamming during practice. I had gotten pretty good at blending in with the competitors, so even though it was a closed practice, I got in a few runs with some of the professionals. The crowd was still growing and people had taken to climbing in the trees to get a good view. I almost hated to see the competition start because the practice was so much fun. I wanted so bad to compete, but the people in charge wouldn't let me because I wasn't sponsored.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, some new faces. Yeah, he's got some good style. We're gonna keep an eye on him. See what he does.
Nice clothes.
Yeah, he could use a change of clothes, couldn't he? Well, I was definitely gonna have the competition today.
It was a hot day, and so was the skating. Adrian Domain took charge of the amateur competition, skating like a guy who knew he'd turn pro. It was like something in the air, and everyone who watched him skate could feel it too. It's funny how those things go. Sometimes you know something big will happen, and other times it just comes out of nowhere. I wondered how the locals felt, having their bowl overrun by outsiders and kind of being pushed aside. Some of them made the most of it. Carlos Longo, a Portuguese transplant to Vancouver, was used to riding the bull and knew every inch of it. Gary Sanderson was an all-around nice guy who had a lot of friends and took his skating seriously. His sister Michelle competed in the women's freestyle. I think she got first place for best legs. I almost didn't notice when the amateurs stopped skating and the pros started. Of course, the skating got better, but was it more than that? What was the dividing line? Who was to say, this guy's airs are just a little higher, he gets the money, or this guy grinds, make him his own board? But there they were, with hopeful amateurs wanting to cross that line right behind them. Not that all skaters are into climbing the ladder to the top and forgetting the fun. But let's face it, it's good money. Not to mention the prestige, and everyone wants to be treated like a celebrity at least once. There was a gang of guys hanging out at the bowl, known as Jack's team. They're all over the West Coast, and are generally disgusting together. They're pretty harmless, though, for the most part, I think.
Jack's team's kind of like the epitome of dirt street skating. We definitely portray somewhat of an image, but we're here to have a good time, and this is basically our way of life. I don't know, we're a lot different than a lot of people, as well as skaters. The Expo was stupid. The Expo was really lousy. And the contest was a good contest, except I couldn't handle all the little kids screaming and yelling, so I left.
But we'd like to get our beer back from this guy, or at least her beer.
But we don't want to make a scene out of this.
We'd hate to make a scene,
We're done
and this nice police officer didn't give us a ticket, so what we're gonna do is walk away.
It's weird.
Hey, took a luck, buddy. You're gonna be replaced, you know.
I wonder what it means to these guys, the term skate and destroy.
A lot of people get fun out of skating radical. Being radical. It's not throwing bombs, destroying property or anything. It's just yourself. You are being radical to you and your board because you just fully go for it. And I come from Germany, and in Germany people don't really ask for autographs and stuff. But I'm out here since 2 months, and I got kind of used to it. There was a time when I didn't give autographs because I think that I'm not like any better than any one of those kids asking me for autographs. But at the time when I refused to give autographs, people called me ignorant. Because I thought I was something better, you know. So now I understand they want my autograph just to prove that they were here and actually met me. So now I'm giving autographs.
All contestants, listen up contestants, to be able to be scored, you have to have a helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads on.
Hey, Steve.
For scoring, you yourself choose to ride without this.
Hey, guy, come here. All right, I've been watching you skate. You know, look like you got a lot of style and possibly a lot of things what I'm looking for in a team rider. I don't know if you'd be interested in, I'd like to see possibly getting you on our squad, getting you on the Vision team. What do you think?
Yeah, real excited.
All right.
I wondered if he had me mixed up with somebody else. I was just there having a good time, and this guy was asking me to be a sponsored am. I mean, before this day, the furthest thing from my mind was being good enough to get sponsored.
I'll give you a number and stuff, you get a hold of me.
I'll get to you.
Okay, excellent. All right, good luck to you. All right, we'll see you again.
Thanks.
Okay.
So once again, this will be my last time I will ask, if you are going to be scored, all competitors, pro and amateur, you have to have a helmet on, elbow pads, and knee pads. Thank you very much. Have a good time out there, spectators. You will enjoy this show.
As I sat down to watch the Pro Bowl competition, my head was spinning. I couldn't believe it. Me, a sponsored am. How could I concentrate on watching? Okay, I thought. Settle down. You're at the bowl. These are the pros. The bowl might be the best test of all-around skating, and Caballero, known as maybe the world's best all-around skater, used the bowl to the max. Certain lines work best for his style, and he took control of the bowl, skating every part of it like he had an engine on his board. Then it was Hawk's turn. Tony was just there to have fun. He puts everything into half pipe. So when he got second at the bowl, I think he surprised himself. I tried to imagine myself being sponsored. Life would sure be different. Touring, no more snaking, kids would really step aside for me, signing autographs. But no, it had to be a joke. Everett was kidding. There was no way I was good enough. My thoughts kept bouncing around. Lester was a real crowd pleaser. He had some wild tricks and got the highest airs. Maybe Everett from Vision wasn't joking about me skating for them. Whether he was or not, it's still nice to know everyone falls, even if the pros do fall with a little more class than everyone else. The North Vancouver Bowl has a smooth plaster finish, and falling doesn't rip off your pads. Falling is a big part of skateboarding. If you're not falling, you're not getting better. I fall whenever I can. The product toss is a unique aspect of skate competitions. Some people would like to ban it, but it may always be a part of skating. I have this theory on sticker tosses. I know everyone says it's a release for pent-up emotions after having watched skaters rip. But I think deep down it's a skater's way of getting back at the fans. Skaters want to see them go crazy. I mean, here's the fans yelling for moves the skaters don't want to do, or constantly bugging skaters for what's in their bags, or getting autographs when they don't even know who they're talking to. I think some skaters kind of get a kick out of seeing them fight for things.
Get nasty.
I finally had to get away from all the frenzy and get back to reality. The reality of what being a sponsored AM could mean.
At any given time, one of these kids could sustain an injury that would take them out of total, I'm saying.
Those who make it a career, often they lose themselves in it. And I see it happen to a lot of my friends. They get soft, they get too used to patting on the back, and they blow it.
The public sees it still as a toy and not as a professional sport. If I didn't make a cent riding skateboards, I'd still be riding skateboards. Making money is just one of these nice things that comes with it.
being on the road, being away from home, having to put up with the roughness when you travel, living in a hotel, living on the street. So it does make it pretty hard. But if you want to be a professional bad enough, you're going to subject yourself to all of the punishment that you have to take to be a professional rider.
I had a few days to think about it. At least I knew I didn't want to jump into anything.
What you're witnessing right now is the high jump event. We have 17 countries represented from around the world gathering together, and we're going through the high jump event.
It was the day of all the finals, a really packed schedule. So they had to hold high jump early in the morning.
And now we're ready to go up to the top of the list for the amateurs. First run through each competitor.
I had this weird feeling that everything that had happened the day before was just a dream. That I hadn't really gone to the bowl. That Everett hadn't really asked me to skate for vision. That a kid hadn't really dropped his ice cream on my shoe. I tried to concentrate on the competition. I wouldn't have the nerve for high jumping. Half the battle seems to be fighting the tremendous pressure. First, you have to have an amazing vertical jump, then land on a moving target. And you had to stay on your board till the back wheels got past a certain mark. But the real pressure came from the waiting, the concentration, the knowing that the guy before you cleared the bar and you have to too, or it's all over. I was impressed with the sportsmanship. Even though it was a head-to-head event, everyone seemed to be pulling for each other. Marcel Flubacher and Ludik Vasa were battling to clear 5 feet 1 inch for first place.
Good jump. Marcel Flubacher, 5 feet 1 inch. Representing the country of Czechoslovakia, Ludik Vasa.
Ludik had turned pro just before the event. How else was he going to pay his way back to Prague?
Throughout today's finals, you're going to get to see the entire spectrum that the sport of skateboarding has to offer, from the quiet expressiveness of the freestylers to the animalistic attack of the half-pipe riders. The full spectrum of human condition being shown here in the sport of skateboarding. All skaters in the freestyle, this is an important announcement. Please listen. We will go through one run. Both amateurs and professional freestylers.
Since it was the last day, the officials didn't waste any time moving on to the next event. I would never have guessed so much skating could be squeezed into one day.
We're ready to get underway. Up first, hometown representing Team Canada, Randy Lassard.
I just wanted to come in and maybe get over 80 because it sounds better. So I only skate if I'm having fun. If I get up and I have a bad day, I go back to bed or something or go snowboarding. So, but I think it's a positive attitude. If it's not fun anymore, then that's when I think it's time to give it up. So, like, I'm not nearly as good a skater as a lot of these guys, but if I stay on my board, I have a really good chance, it seems. So in practice, you see they pull off really hot tricks, but they can't do them in competition because they fall. So that's what makes me happy. Consistency seems to be the most important part right now.
And once you make a couple of your harder tricks, that sets the roll up for the next ones. And what what I try to do is to set up my tricks so I start off with something a little more easier, flowing, just to kind of get me going. If you start out with something too hard and you miss it, then it gets you down for the whole rest of your routine. It's a lot easier to recover in your routine when you're about midway through it. If you step off on something, you figure, well, you started out fine, you can end it fine.
Obviously, there's a lot of showboat tricks that are being done the audience likes, but there's not a lot of technical difficulty in there. Because you've got to be able to flip the board, count the revolutions, and either land on the bottom or top and be it under control. If you're doing circus tricks, you're not going to get a lot of scores from these judges. They know what they're doing. You really can't mix hard drugs with this kind of riding. It takes too much of a reaction, quick reactions, and being right there. It's more of a purist sport, believe it or not. But this is one of the most healthy things I've ever participated in my life.
Gogo wasn't the only skater who had a tough time in the finals. A lot of the amateurs just didn't do as well as they did in the semis. Both pro and am freestyle finalists only got one run instead of the usual two. I wondered if some of them weren't used to that kind of pressure. It might have made an even better test of overall skating ability. You could see that some of the pros were feeling the pressure too. More than the ramp riders, the freestylers knew this was the world event, and they would never skate before this many people against this competition again. I looked around at some of the freestylers getting ready and could feel this incredible tension building. Just watching Rodney psych up made me nervous. Pierre-Andre is in the French army and couldn't leave his duties to attend. Monty wrote a letter to Pierre's commanding officer, but didn't hear anything until Pierre showed up at Expo. The letter must have worked. Pierre carries a briefcase with him. He's a real businessman and understands where he can go in skateboarding. He has calendars laid out, telling where he has to be, charts with his sales on them, and a day planner. He did some of the stunt skating in Back to the Future.
in ranking? I have no idea. Score for Rocky Run, 100.
Diane and Primo are a husband and wife team, and let me tell you, I was sorry to hear she was married. They perform the routine at SeaWorld.
She could look at my routine and tell me, you know, if I'm facing the wrong way towards a crowd or different tricks that I need to put in and take out. So it's really helped. She's like a coach too. She's always helped me out. She's a women's professional, only one in the world.
Diane and Primo Desiderio. Thank you. And now, if I may direct your attention to the half pipe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the final amateur half pipe player.
Watching the amateurs on the half pipe, you could see some guys were aggressive, really hitting it hard and getting better all the time. But others, even some of the pros who followed, just played it safe, only trying tricks they knew they could pull off. Like they didn't stick their neck out or want it bad enough. The surprise of Everett asking me to skate for vision had worn off. I was finally able to think clearly and wonder if I had the talent. With some help, the final ramp was hanging in there. It had grown another foot of vertical over the original deck and was getting a real workout, even during timeouts. Nail it good, guys. We don't want any surprises during the finals.
Ladies and gentlemen, up first, please welcome the professional half-pipe finals, Klaus Grabke.
The pro halfpipe was the climax of the contest, one of the great jams of all time, and the sticker toss that followed made it a truly memorable experience. Klaus from Germany was the only one of the 8 in the final jam who wasn't from the US, and the first European pro to make the finals in a major halfpipe contest. Chris was seated 7th in the jam and rose to 5th overall. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything. I think he speaks English, though.
Because the louder you scream, the higher they go.
Everyone likes Lester. He really cut loose in the jam, but it cost him.
Lester Cassar. Up now, Mike McGill.
A lot of the pro halfpipe rides do them a twist, but everyone still screams for Mike to do it, because he invented it. Lance went for everything, skating like there was no tomorrow. Caballero did some of the most aggressive skating of the finals. Christian Hosoi probably takes advantage of the commercial potential in skateboarding as well as anybody, but he has a skating ability to back it up. For most of the finalists, I think they were out to put on a real show for each other. But with Hosoi and Hawk, I think it was different. This was the world event. And more than ever, I think they were trying to establish just who would be called the best. The crowd had their favorites, and after a week of the greatest skating ever, they were ready to explode. Klaus was so excited about making the finals, I'm sure we saw the best skating he'd ever done. Chris Miller was amazing. He seemed to float his long carved airs. In his second run, Lester Kasai turned up the power and took to the air. Unfortunately, he couldn't hang on. McGill's not really flashy, but he's consistent and always gets the job done. Lance tried over and over to hit the McTwist, even though it wasn't one of his stronger tricks. Cavallero went progressively wilder in the finals, but it cost him different than Lester. He'd get a $200 fine after his last run for causing a near riot. Thanks to Caballero, a lot of people missed most of Hossoi's last run, but he made the best of it anyway. Tony Hawk was definitely out to win his 4th consecutive NSA Vertical Championship.
Skating program is finished. We must leave here immediately. Please. Do not come down to the ramp. Please. Go to the perimeter and leave.
Expo rules, security guards, barricades, and the biggest crowd to ever watch a skateboard contest finally clashed.
Please, no sticker throwing. No sticker throwing. Please, get off the ramp.
They tried to clear the area for another event, and the idea to move the crowd to the grassy hill erupted into the wildest product toss of all time.
No sticker throwing. Absolutely not.
It started to get out of hand, and for the first time I started wondering if being sponsored was what I really wanted. I know the toss wasn't the competition, but if I did get sponsored, decisions, they can be tough, all right. So can a lot of things. I wasn't sure what answer I'd give Everett, but one thing was certain. Things would never be the same again.